Hi, Len Potter here. One of the things I want to talk about is the fact that I really like building systems for people. And one of the things that I like doing for them is making small systems. I call them tight systems because they're small with a lot of punch to them. Now, one of the things that I stumbled across when I started to build these systems is a company called PI Engineering and a product called X-Keys. And I'm happy to be talking with Dan Slider, who is the Director of Marketing for PI Engineering. Dan, welcome to the show. It's nice to have you.
Well, thanks for having me on, Len. I'm really happy to be here.
Good. Let's get this out of the way because I want to know what your job is at PI Engineering and how long have you been there?
Well, I started in March of 2000, so I've kind of watched this company grow over the last 20 years. And my official title is Director of Marketing, but we are a small company here. We're less than 20 employees, so everybody, it's kind of an all hands on deck situation many times, and everybody does a little bit of everything. So in addition to marketing, I sometimes handle a little bit of tech support. I do a little bit of product development. I help pitch in with ideas on new designs or try to look ahead and see what the market needs next so that we can stay ahead of the game.
Very good. Now, when somebody told me to look you guys up online, I went to PI Engineering and the first thing I found was industrial commercial stuff. So this big long thing with buttons on it and you push and the crane goes overhead. It's like, yeah, this is nice, but what do they have to do with broadcasting and production? And then I dug a little deeper and I found X-Keys. And what an amazing product. What an amazing control surface. My favorite is actually the XKE 124 with the T-bar. That's what I use a lot for my clients and everything. So talk to me a little bit about how did you guys get into that whole control surface thing?
Well, X-Keys was founded with something called a Y mouse, which back in the days before USB was the only way you could get two keyboards or two mice into the same PS2 port, or even before that, the same serial port on a PC. And the X-Keys started as kind of a helper keyboard for people doing CAD work or something like that, where it was nice for them to have tools at hand.
Yeah.
And then from there, it's just expanded into almost every market. As you know, computers are running almost everything in the world today. And since X-Keys can control a computer, you'll find it in every market that you can think of. We're
That
very
is
popular
true.
with photographers and technicians that have to process like thousands of images a
Yeah.
day.
Now you tell a good story, which is all of a sudden you're at a basic trade show, and somebody says they saw you at NAB and you weren't at NAB. So tell that story because that's
Yes.
great.
We were exhibiting at SIGGRAPH, which is a trade show for graphic artists.
Yeah.
And people kept coming up to the booth and saying, "Oh, X-Keys, we saw you at NAB." And we would look at each other and say, "Okay, that's weird because we don't exhibit at NAB." But after hearing that a number of times, we took the hint and said, maybe we should go to NAB. And our first year there, we walked around and we could not believe all the places we saw X-Keys, but other people were using them in their booths to demonstrate their product or to enhance their product, and that is why people said they saw us at NAB. That,
Yeah.
it's turned out to be a really valuable show for us.
Yeah, very nice. Now, is that what kicked off the whole getting into the broadcast and production thing for you guys? Is that what tipped it off for you?
Absolutely. Just a couple of years ago, an engineer came up to us in the booth and he said, "You guys, you've become kind of like the Kleenex in the broadcast industry. If anybody's talking about a programmable control surface, they call it an X-Keys."
Right.
Said he's out. I can't tell you how many times that a group of us engineers would be standing around scratching our heads looking at a technical problem, and somebody would just say, throw an X-Keys at it and walk away.
Yeah, very nice.
So, yeah, we become a pretty essential part of the engineer's toolkit in the broadcast
Awesome.
industry.
Awesome. All right, let's talk about this little bad boy and X Blocks. What's coming up? Tell me. This stuff is exciting. Go ahead.
Yeah, so this is in pretty early development. We don't have a working prototype yet. We're putting some things together. And the concept is that we will make modules that are, a lot of them mimic existing controls that we have. And so the end user, instead of, us kind of guess what kind of control surface they want, they will be able to select from multiple modules and put them together and in any fashion that they like. And in the end, they'll have a good solid USB controller to use that'll fit their requirements.
Nice. Now, this is the one that's got me the most excited, and I'll tell you why. Because I think, well, I don't want to. I don't want to use another competitor's name here, but there's another block that's out that has backlit keys and all this other stuff, and but we're always in need of a T-bar controller. And some of the stuff I was reading on the XKey users thing on Facebook, boy, when you guys showed that one thing with with the extra T-bar kind of further up at the top, somebody was saying, "Can I get a T-bar controller separately?" So the question is, now we can, right?
Soon. I don't have a release date. It's like I say, it's in early prototyping. It's hard to say exactly when that'll actually be in production. I do
Gotcha.
have some prototypes here that I'd be happy to show you if
Sure,
you'd like to
sure.
see them.
By all means. Oh, nice.
So this is a solid powder coated extruded aluminum base. And the cool thing about this is that we can cut it in various lengths
Yeah.
to suit what you need. And then these modules, for example, this is an early prototype of the T-bar module with
Right.
keys around it. You can see here, it slides into this extrusion. And then, you would be able to stack up multiples like in this version.
Uh-huh.
And then fit them out with a finished end cap when you're done.
Oh, nice.
There will be a hub connecting all these together because these modules are individual USB entities.
Oh, very nice.
So that's
Yeah.
the other cool thing about them is if you just wanted this T-bar with
Yeah.
the keys on it, you could plug it in and it will report and it'll work just like any of our other X keys.
Wow. That is incredible. The versatility of X keys never ceases to amaze me, and we put them into so many situations. One of the things that we've done recently is we've made several of these little fifth wheels that you can stand up in, but they're small production vehicles that basically park anywhere, as opposed to your big 52-foot Expando sides. And this thing has been taken off with a lot of people that do high school sports and some tier 3 NCAA stuff. So I'm really thinking that and we've put X keys into this operation, and they are happier than anything I can say. So in the future, how long are we looking at before this stuff, the X blocks, are released?
That would be a guessing game for me, and I'm really reluctant to put a timeline on it.
Yeah.
I can tell you, this fall our instant replay controller will be out.
Oh,
I
okay.
know that's going to happen. So that's the one with the jog and shuttle in the lower left corner and the T-bar in the upper right corner.
Nice.
And we've had some very good reports from people like TJ Thompson and John Munford who are out there actually using it
Yeah.
and are very happy with it. So
Very
another
good.
thing that's really helped us with this Len is our relationship with vMix.
Right. Okay.
And that was
Yeah.
very fortunate for us. They wrote our X keys into their software without us even knowing about it, without even asking us for any help with the SDK. That was another surprise at NAB 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Somebody walked up and said, X keys, oh, vMix has you written in. and we looked at each other and said, what's vMix?
Yeah.
Coincidentally, there were just a few stalls down at NAB, and so we got to know Martin and Tim. They are terrific people, and we really value our relationship with them. That's one of the things, as we were just talking about this XBlock system, is
Yeah.
we need to have some meetings with them and work out exactly how that's going to be supported. So
So how
but
are
I'm
how are
confident we'll do
they?
that.
how close are you guys? I mean, do you talk on a regular basis to iron out the interface issues between vMix and XKeys?
You know, there haven't been a lot of issues. We stay in regular contact via email, and it's always fun to meet up with them at the shows. You know, we just did NAB recently, and we'll be seeing them at IBC in September.
Very nice. In closing, anything else you want to promote here? Because trust me, I am such a big XKeys fan, and I'm sure that you know, the projects that we're putting XKeys in, people are amazed at what XKeys can do. So, anything in closing that you want to hawk?
You know, as a part of this XBlock system, we have something we call PyRack, which is an enclosure that would hold an array of this XBlock's XKeys and also have a couple of rack space, you know, space for rack mounts, either
Wow.
2 RU high or 5 RU high.
Yeah.
So someone could put together a nice little control console all on its own.
Very nice. Well, Dan, thank you for joining me on the show. I'm joined by Dan Slider, who is the Director of Marketing for XKeys in beautiful Michigan. So again, thank you for joining me and for showing us what's coming up. And we'll do this again and keep everybody aware of what's happening with XKeys and PI Engineering.